So you try d4 and your opponent strikes off the center playing the king's Indian defense. Now when I say striking the center, you can understand with the king's Indian he wants to castle and protect his king. Now how is that striking the center? So basically after castling he can try some move like d6 and c5. Even better d6 and e5. Right? So in all the ways he can try to attack your center. Now I'll show you how you can create a clash against the King's Indian defense. So your opponent over here must play d6. Okay, and there is a lot of chances that your opponent will play d6. But as you can observe this opening explorer, you can see that there are 36 lakh games where your opponent has castled. So you can say that you must be enough prepared for this line. Anyway, so if you castle, then you can say that you are winning the game because you can continue with e5. Now, why is that looking so arrogant and all? So you can, if he play knight here, basically, if he's trying to protect his knight, you can strike attacking the knight, and that's the knight trap. Means you can win the knight in the next move. If your opponent moves the knight backwards, and that's the best move, you can observe all the pieces at the back rank. The bishop is the only piece which is developed, but it is not looking that it is absolutely a very good bishop or what. And these pawns haven't watched, like, they haven't moved in the entire game. So you can say that this is a very easy win for you. Now, if your opponent play d6, which is going to be the good move and the best move over here, what you can do is continue with f4, the 4 pawn attack. Now, how are you going to play against this? If your opponent is an advanced level player playing the King's Indian, so your opponent as an advanced level will castle quickly and play e5 or c5. E5 is one of the attacking variations along with c5, which is a defensive way. Okay, the idea of c5 and e5 is to strike the center. Now there are some players as white, and you must be enough aware about this. That there are some players, what they do is they make some mistakes, common mistakes. They create some common mistakes like the move x3. Okay, their idea is that the bishop cannot come to you. Right, this is one of the common ideas among black players. I mean, sorry, white players. They feel that you can play x3 and block the bishop from coming. Well, that is not exactly the point. Your opponent can move the knight x5 and strike over here. If you try to attack the knight, he can still move the knight here and attack your pieces. You will play rook here. Now that's up to him whether he want to take or not take. And at last he will take it. He'll take your castling ability and then attack the center with the move c5. If you take, then the bishop diagonal will get open, and that's a very solid attack towards your position. Okay, so this will be a easy win for black. So that's why it is important for you that you must not play x3 and allow your opponent to take the bishop here. Okay, you can develop the knight to f3 as the best move without worrying about anything. Okay, now there are some players who even play e5 here. Well, so e5 is still a mistake. Now, why is that so? Because your opponent can take the knight backwards or take this. That's up to him. Suppose he take it. So what will you do? You will take back from this. If you take back from this, then queen take queen. So if you take from the f, he can take his knight backwards, try to attack this. Now he'll play c5, attack the center. Okay, let me show. Suppose you play knight f3. He'll play c5. You, if you push the pawn forward, then knight take on the pawn. Okay, he can do this, and at the same time he can even play e6. Okay, so e6. If you try to push, knight take on this. After knight take, bishop queen attacking this. So that is not going to be a easy win for you. Okay, so these are all the threats that you are having, and you must be aware for this. Okay, so what's the best move? Now stick to it. You play knight f3. Don't look for any other move. Just develop your knights and follow the principle. Knights before the bishop. So you will develop your bishop. You will develop your knight, and now your opponent has two variations: c5 or e5. Suppose your opponent try attacking the center with the move e5. Okay, this is one of the common most move which is played. Now e5, what you can do is capture back from the f pawn. Now what happens if you capture from the d pawn? So if you capture from the d pawn, then he'll also take it. Now if you trade, rook will take it. It will have an open file. Okay, open file, and then knight take on e5. Now with this, you may observe that your central control is more better, but the problem is this file. And that does not matter a lot because you are increasing the control at the center and your king is safe. So you must just focus on that. Play bishop e2 and castle quickly, and your position is a very good position. Now let's take it back and follow the best move, and that is f take e5. Okay, after this move f take e5, if your opponent capture it back from the pawn, then it does not mean that knight take on this is the solution. Okay, there are a lot of players. They play knight take on e5. Once again, this is a mistake. And knight take on e5 is played among 13,000 games. Okay, so it is very important for you all to understand. Now, if you play this, your opponent can play rook e8, attack this, and then continue with c5. Okay, now what can you play over here? So basically, if you play anything like bishop f4, defending it, suppose bishop f4, then what he'll do is develop his knight, try to attack your knight. Otherwise, he can even play c5. Now, if you push the pawn, what can he do? So he can continue with knight h5, attack your bishop, which is defending the knight, and at the same time open up his bishop. So these are the reasons that you must be aware for. Okay, so it is not a good plan to take this pawn from the knight. Instead, what you must do is continue pushing the pawn, and that is d5. Now, what will happen after the move d5? So once again, your opponent will still be attacking your position by c6. He'll simply attack your pawn and will support the knight in development. If you take the knight take. So like this, he'll just improve his development and all. Otherwise, he can even go with queen take on this, knight take, and then take it. Okay, so this is the plan from black and side. And that's why it's suggested for you all that you must ignore this threat and continue with bishop g5. Now, what's the main idea for bishop g5? So the main idea is that we are creating a pin. You can expect your opponent to play some move like x6 and all. Now what will happen is, you may observe you can simply move the bishop backwards. Otherwise, if you are like, if you want to take it to a better square, you can play bishop e3, queen d2 and attack this. Okay, so it is a gentle reminder for you all that x6 is not a good move. Okay, it is not at all a good move. What you can do is simply move the bishop backwards, continue having this pin. If your opponent even push it further, you may simply move the bishop back to f2. f2 or bishop g3, that's your call. Choose anything. Okay, knight on this will be always an attack. If your opponent try to push and attack this, then you can capture this. No. If you take it, rook e8, and that's an attack. So always remember, black is having this trap. Okay, so never fell for this trap. Now he'll play g4, you can move knight x4, move here and simply eliminate and all. Okay, so this is going to be a very easy win for you. Now, this is the way how you can play against this setup. Okay, and we go back with knight f3 along with c5. Now he's striking the center with this move. What can you do against this setup? So against this, you can observe you have uh, you can capture this, you can push it, or you can ignore and develop the bishop. That's up to you what you want to do. So over here, the best ever move is d5 or d takes c5. Now that's up to you what you want to do. Okay, a lot of players they prefer to play d5, so you also must play d5. And after this, you can expect e6. What you will do is you will develop the bishop, and you don't have to take it. Always remember that. You don't have to take this, because if you take it, he'll simply take back from the bishop or the pawn. I'll say from the pawn because he'll block this threat. Okay, and then he can just strike the center. So that will be a very easy win for him. And if you try to play e5 also, then that's also not going to work. Because d take e5 after you take. He can move the knight back. Suppose knight here. If you try to push or whatever, okay, if you try to push, knight take on this. And that's the same matter that we discussed earlier. Okay, so this is suggested to you all that forget the move e5. E5 is not at all working for you. Now over here, after d5, your opponent plays e6, you play bishop e2. Now your opponent has no other choice instead of capturing it. And you can expect your opponent. Always remember, your opponent will play e6 just to capture your pawn. This is the basic plan structure for him. Okay. Now after this move, if we take it, then what we are going to do? You will take back from this pawn or this pawn. So first of all, taking back from the knight is not at all the correct move. Okay, this is the most common doubt among players, and you must be aware for this. The best ever hand move is c take d5. Now, why is that so? Like the reason is you are opening up this bishop diagonal. You can move the knight, try to attack, and that's the basic plan. Otherwise, if you take back from this pawn, then what's the problem? Then the fact is you are blocking the move b5 from this pawn and all. So that's why many players suggest e take on d5. Now what will happen is your opponent can simply develop the bishop. And if you try knight here, trying to attack this and all, you can continue with knight take on d5. Now you might be shocked, like the pawn can take, knight can take. Why is he doing that? Well, so if you continue with knight take on this, what will happen is your opponent can take this knight. So generally he'll just sacrifice with the queen capturing on your knight. So that's why bishop f5 will be an available option for black. So it is suggested for you all to capture back from the c pawn. And after capturing it back, you can expect some responses like b5. Okay, now with the move b5, what will happen is he wants you that you capture this back, either from the knight or the bishop. Suppose you take back from the knight. If you take back from knight, he'll simply take your central pawn. If you take back from the bishop, then what will happen? So your opponent can still take it. Now you might say knight can take it. How capturing your bishop will be an available option to you. Now whatever you try, you can capture your bishop. Okay, so with this, it is going to be an available option for him. Okay, so it is suggested for you all that you can strike the center with the move e5. Now suppose your opponent capture this. You'll also take it back and attack this. And so on, you can observe that this is a very good position for you. If your opponent play knight g4, then you can continue with bishop take on b5 and then castle and you can win the game. Okay, you can allow your opponent to capture this e5 pawn. Otherwise, if you are really concerned about this, then you can try to defend it. Or you can play bishop g5 also. You can just attack the queen. Your opponent play queen b6 as the best ever response. You may castle and continue. So this is going to be the way of playing this 4 pawn attack. Now let's take it back. And after the move c5, you can also go with d take on c5. Okay, after this move, you can expect your opponent to capture it. If he capture, then queen take on the queen is not the way. Okay, don't take it. If you take, rook will take and it is an open file for him. Means this is an advantage for black. So always play bishop d3, blocking this, play bishop e3, castle, and that's an easy win. Now you might say that e5 was away, right? Well, so the problem was queen take on this. Okay, so that's why you first play bishop d3 and then play e5. First develop your pieces castle and you can even plan for e5. Okay, so the main plan of capturing this pawn is simple. If we take, then you go with e5. After your development, he take bishop d3, bishop e3, castling, and then e5. So this is how you can play the 4 pawn attack. And